front with Hezbollah in Lebanon has been open since October, but it has been low intensity warfare. At this moment, Hezbollah still does not want to escalate into a full-scale confrontation and a full-scale war with the Israeli state. I also believe that the Israeli state itself doesn't want that. Just because the parties don't want to escalate into a full-scale war, and other groups as well and states around the region don't want that to happen, just because people don't want that to happen does not mean that it won't happen. Not every war starts by everybody agreeing, yes, we want to engage in a full-scale war. Sometimes you can slide into one. So though I'm not predicting that this will happen, I'm not saying that it will for sure happen by any stretch, it's still on the table. The chances of this turning into a full-scale regional war is still very much a possible outcome. So long as the Israeli genocide of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip continues, that potential is always there. And the Israeli actions in assassinating Hamas leader in Beirut, bombing in Syria, those are leading to certainly to escalations that could lead to a regional war. Yeah, so the United States has been actively involved in this from the very beginning, since October. The second they sent in that aircraft carrier, they were actively involved. You don't need American missiles to be fired in order to say it. That they're actively involved, but the sheer fact of their military presence there makes them active participants in this. And we have seen escalations. Recently killed Yemeni fighters in the Red Sea. They're sending more warships there. Of course, the Yemeni action was purely done to stop the genocide against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip, and the Americans are now intervening to stop the Yemenis from stopping the genocide. So that makes the United States very much active participants in the genocide of the Palestinian people. And the more that their presence become more felt in this way, where they are killing fighters and soldiers for other groups and states, the more the chance of a wider regional war grows. Again, I'm not predicting that that's going to happen, but that is certainly a potential outcome. So Israel is certainly out of control. Any state that is committing genocide is out of control. The West is not going to fix this because the West is actively engaged in this. The only people that can fix this are coalitions of states from the global South. So I very much applaud South Africa for taking the case to International Court of Justice, charging Israel with genocide, and I encourage all states. I believe Turkey just supported it. Malaysia supported it. There may be others, all breaking news constantly. So I think all states around the world, from the global South especially, should get behind South Africa in this and make clear that Israel is committing a genocide. I think countries like South Africa, Bolivia, Turkey, countries in the Arab world have to wake up and start acting. Countries like Pakistan, they should all be working to isolate the Israeli state economically and politically, and getting behind the South African attempt to charge Israel with genocide. This is the only way. Economic isolation of the Israeli state is the only way to stop this madness, and it's not going to come from the West. And pressure should also be put on countries in the West to take more significant action in pulling back the Israeli state. And the Israeli state and the West are one and the same thing. They're a strong alliance. The Israeli state does not do anything that is not supported, actively sanctioned by the United States and its imperial allies. I think the only answer can come from the global South. It will not come from the West. The time for action is now. This is an extreme case of violence that is being perpetrated by the Israeli state against the Palestinian people. This is not the first time that the Palestinian people have experienced genocide and a genocidal operation like this. 1948 was exactly like this. Different weaponry and that sort of thing, but the forms of violence were the same. There's been a constant 75-year attack on the Palestinian people. That attack will continue even after this genocidal operation is over, against Palestinians who remain in Gaza, against the Palestinians in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem. So there is no path forward beyond the economic and political isolation of the Israeli state. It will not get off the path of genocide and ethnic cleansing unless it has a price to pay. And that price will never come from the US, it will never come from the UK, it will never come from Canada. It can only come from countries in the global south gathering together and saying enough is enough. We're going to stop the Israeli genocidal project, and we're going to say no to Western imperialism. Western imperialism is also an enemy of all the countries of the global south. We cannot pretend that people in the post-colonized world have gotten rid of the yoke of Western imperialism. They have not. This struggle needs to be activated across the world against American imperialism and the Israeli state. And without political and economic isolation, this goal will not be achieved.